So I'm indoors and I'm doing a retake because I got a little ways down a creek I couldn't figure my way back out of. Too much, I don't know. Too many blind turns and assumptions. I realized I didn't have any sort of basis to make. So let's see. I'm indoors. It's raining outside. We've had some beautiful weather for a few weeks and, kind of off and on. And now on a day off, it's raining. So I'm indoors and I'm recording. And let's see, down at Winco in Centralia, they sell cases of Dick's Brewing's beers. And it's a blind case. So it's like, 24 bottles or something in a box. I think it's less than $20, but it's blind. You cannot tell what is in the box until you buy the box. It's going to be any of a selection of various beers. Incidentally, Dick's Brewing kind of featured tangentially on Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, because there is a restaurant down in Centralia, or north of Centralia, that that was related to Dick's Brewing. I believe there's been an official separation or something. They've focused on different things, but there's a restaurant cafe down there that got a glowing review from Mr. Flavortown, and I do believe he mentioned Dick's Brewing's in there. So bitter beer in particular, I have not had Dick's Best Bitters before. This is going to be a first taste. Yay! I have had bitter beers before, but the easily found ESB, right? Which is a very nice, easy drinker, malty, very slight bitterness, especially for us in the U.S. who would consider an IPA to be bitter rather than, what maybe a traditional European style might consider bitter. So, yeah, let's dive in here before I get any further up a creek paddle free. The color checks out at least. Yeah, so let's see what it's like. Ooh, there's a very nice aroma. Pretty big too. Now, of course, being indoors, there's no wind blowing the aroma away, so that is in my favor, or in the favor of the beer. Yeah, definitely malty. That it wasn't a bad face. That was yes, it's very malty. It's a sweet maltiness. It's like a really nice brown bread loaf, but there is also a hint of bitterness coming through in there. Definitely some of the color of the malt is from, or some of the color of the beer is from the roasting level of the malt, as it usually is. And so I'm smelling a little bit of the roastiness, not smokiness, just roastiness. There's a fruit in there, or at least it's sweet. I could say it's like you're driving past ripe apple orchards. Again, not unpleasant, super pleasant sort of aroma. Yeah, so it's not like an apple pie. It's like you don't have that baked stewed sweetness. It is like ripe apple trees, or ripe apples on a tree, and malty breadiness, all working very nicely together. And then just this really hint of roastiness that presents a really deft little counterpoint, and a little bit of nuance and dimension. It's a really pleasant aroma, actually. I like that. I mean, lots of beers smell good, but this one I find particularly fetching at the moment. Oh. Wow. That is surprisingly bitter. Dang. Okay. Um, yeah, so there is a hint of sweetness. There is the maltiness, and then there's Wow, it's really building. It's a long tail of bitterness. There is the roastiness that kind of starts out, but then there's these hops, really strongly applied hops. Not like IPA level. These are darker, dry, and almost like dry leaves. It almost feels like a mouth-drying level of bitterness. But it's this really long finish that kind of makes you want to keep drinking. There's also almost like a baker's chocolate, like a unsweetened cocoa powder kind of thing going on. There's some levels of bitterness to this. This is a significantly bitter beer, especially if you're expecting something like ESB. I don't dislike it, but I feel this beer really needs, more than some other beers need, this beer needs like savory, fatty foods to go along with. It has this powerful bitterness that really just keeps going. And if I've got like a pastrami sandwich or something like that, with your Thousand Island dressing and your pastrami meat and a bit of sauerkraut on a nice caraway seed rye bread, or even like a raisin sweetness like in a slaw, I feel this would work really, really well with that sort of getup. And that's not just me talking because it's lunchtime and I might have food on my brain. No, this is a beer that wants food. I mean, heck, even a simple hot dog, the saltiness of the hot dog, a little bit of sweetness from the ketchup, the acidity from your mustard, and this beer, yeah. I mean, just knocking back. This drunk straight, this beer has an almost, for me, challenging level of bitterness. I believe my wife would find this unpalatable. She is less of a fan of bitterness than I am. But I believe that this bitterness can play a really, really powerful, positive part in a meal. Now, don't cook with it. Definitely don't cook with it. Too much hops to cook. You'll just get all the bad flavors. But to be drunk along with, like I said, a pastrami sandwich or even a simple hot dog, all day, every day, perfect beer for that. Yeah. So I struggle with rating this. I mean, I'm going to drink the rest of it. I'm not going to struggle with that. Would I don't often buy beer intending to pair it with a meal, unless I have a particular plan in mind, a special occasion, planning my birthday party or something like that. But this beer just really needs that. And I think it's superlative at that. But on its own, it's approaching a 2-star beer. Like, it's a fine beer that's just not for me. But with food, it's definitely for me. So I think, understanding context, I think it is a 3-star beer. Like, just know that it might make a lot more sense with a really good plate of meat, right? And that's where I'm going to leave that. Yeah, it's a tasty beer, and in the right context, it can be very good, or it can be a positive contributor to an overall platter. Let's alliterate a little bit further. Anyways, this is me, Matthew, drinking Dick's Best Bitter. They're not lying about the bitter. And in the right context, it's definitely best. I will catch y'all on the flip side.